Hi, good evening, and welcome to day 28 of 60 days of learning. And as I've mentioned in multiple of the other videos, my 60 days of learning is on the Godot game engine. So on day 28, I decided to take a little bit of feedback that came from a previous video, and it was more specifically talking about the tower purchasing mechanic. Now, I wasn't real crazy about the tower purchasing mechanic, but it worked, and so it stayed in the game. But he did make a suggestion. They made a suggestion on how to take it to the next level. And I agree with drag and drop functionality. So I took it one step further. I was a little frustrated that I wasn't actually able to see my tower's range when I put it down, nor could I see the tower's range at any time. Now, I do still have it where it's not exactly a shooting in the range that I would hope that it would, but with a little bit of additional work, I can definitely get that resolved. So that's a little bit of my goal for this evening, is to get that working, and then tomorrow I could add it in as part of day 29, but I wanted to get this video out in front of you. So anyways, let me go ahead and stop boring you with my talking, and let's get going. So remember, we have two different types of towers. We have our fast tower and we have our basic tower. So what is the difference in the two? So the basic tower is a slower shot, but and it has a little more damage than the fast tower, which shoots at a more rapid pace. So there is I want to add a little more of a disadvantage to that fast tower as well. And I'm decreasing the range. So maybe we can increase the attack speed with that as well. But let's take a quick look. So with what we have, so as I mentioned, we have drag and drop now. So you see it is clicking to the tiles, and I did add some very obvious modulation to say, modulate, adding some color, adding some tinting on there to make sure to tell you cannot place it here. Anyways, but you can see the range is quite awesome on the basic. It goes down pretty close to down here. I believe that's the bottom. But let's go ahead and add a fast boy on there. So the fast boy, you can see, is much less range, and that's okay. That is intentional at this point. So right now the bug is that they are all still shooting at the same range. And I think I just have something wrong with the way that I'm setting the radius on the actual collision shape. So just to give a heads up, the collision shape radius was not something I was modifying previously. I was actually doing everything on the scale. So today I learned that there is a radius on the actual shape itself. Unfortunately, it wasn't until recently I noticed that if you were to create an object on that right side, it usually always has some additional properties that you can add to it. Rather, if that's a tile set, if that's a collision shape, or as I was putting in the other day, adding additional waves into our game. So I'm just going to poke at a couple of those things. One, we have attack range on the actual resources for the towers. So if I was to look at the difference between the basic tower and the fast, we have 80 range for the basic and 50 range for the fast. So that's where I was mentioning the fire rate. I could keep at 2.1. I'm fine with that. But the damage, maybe I could take it up to like 8 instead of 10. I believe basic is at 10. So instead of being down at 7, I'll bump it up to 8, because there's a lot less that it's actually going to hit the enemy. So if you get in this guy's bubble, you're going to be getting a lot of damage dealt to you. So that's that. The other thing that I wanted to point out real quick is I do have a new scene that I'm using. So when dragging around the tower outside of the shop, instead of actually using the original tower, I'm using this ghost scene. So as you probably saw in the game, it it keeps the same sprite between the two. That's also another thing that I didn't take into consideration. Tried fitting this within an hour as much as I could, and I did spend an extra 15 minutes knocking out another bug. Got that resolved. So here we are. Overall, I'm happy. I think that that was a great suggestion about how to solve kind of the feel of the shop as it was today. So I'm very grateful for that feedback, and I'm always looking for more feedback. So I'm going to fix this a little bit. I'm going to get it. I'm going to get the sprites set up, so we're either going to have the basic boy or the fast boy when you drag it. I'm also hoping by the end of the day, I'm going to get that attack range issue resolved. So anyways, I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you very much for joining me on this.